What is to be done? In the first video in this two-part series, I explained how the entire West faces a civilization-wrecking convergence of catastrophes. I also warned that the liberal elite's disastrous policy decisions and ruthless repression of all who criticise their revolutionary agenda is already triggering a vicious cycle of violence and oppression. I closed that presentation by promising to outline the role which the Templars will play as this great and now unavoidable crisis unfolds. Some of what we are planning, indeed already doing, must necessarily remain confidential, known only to those few who need to know. But I can share a very important part of our historic 21st century mission with you. First though, for the avoidance of doubt and of dishonest far-left smears, let me reiterate that by describing why violence is inevitable, I am most definitely not saying that it is good or in any way desirable. The whole situation is tragic and deeply regrettable. I am not recommending or justifying violence. I am merely saying that it is now unavoidable, the direct result of liberal folly and leftist arrogance. Further, I want to make it crystal clear that our advice is that anyone talking about preparing for violence, whether with paramilitary organisations or guns and explosives, is either a dangerous fool or an even more dangerous agent provocateur. Either is liable to get you locked up and to ruin your life. So any and every such approach should be rebuffed and rejected out of hand. That said, our mission for the dark and violent times ahead is very simple. First, it is to draw attention to the courage and fortitude of the heroes and martyrs of the past, so as to help to give our people the moral strength to face and overcome the evils that now cannot be avoided. Our purpose is spiritual rearmament, nothing more and nothing less. Second, these violent times, and especially the rise of militant ultra-aggressive Islamism and of liberal left repression, will inevitably produce and advance men of violence. There is nothing we can do to change or delay this inevitable development, but we regard it as our sacred duty to do what we can to bring the light of Christ into the hearts and minds of the men who will lead the resistance to Islamist and leftist tyranny. Without such constructive influence, not one of those men will go away. Instead, the things they have to do will be compounded by things they will want to do if their hearts are full only of hate and of the might is right nihilism of the Nietzscheans and neo-Nazis, whose poisonous and anti-human doctrines already have dangerous resonance among the embryonic resistance movement. We are not here to take over, let alone to build such organisations. They will emerge and grow whether we interact with them or not. The difference is that organisations led by men who have been touched by our message and by the word of God will be dangerous to the enemies of our people. Those without such influence are liable to be dangerous to the meek, the weak, and the innocent, as the Islamists and communists they claim to oppose, werewolves preying on the flocks they claim to defend. We have a vision of the Templar banner becoming the symbol that tells people that those who fly it, however rough they may appear, and however violent the struggle in which they are necessarily engaged, will not abuse their power and their strength. That is why we must seek out these men as they emerge in the crisis that is emerging, why we must talk with them about Jesus and morality and human decency, and why we must hand those who take our message to heart the Templar banners that will sanctify their struggle and temper what must be done with ideas of what should be. Deus Vult.